6:02, City of Leeds, Zoning Board of Adjustment. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And second item on the agenda tonight was to approve and/or discuss the minute. The second item is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion or anybody not like them or agree with them, or do I hear a motion?
I've got some corrections.
Okay.
Proposed corrections.
Okay.
The Alabama statute on open meetings said that the minutes have to have the time of the meeting on there, so we need to put the time, I think, at the top, 6 p.m.
It says 6 p.m.
Well, it says you called it to order at 6 p.m. Maybe I'm being nitpicky. I
don't know.
You typically see it where it says the time, place, and location. So if we could put it in the first line, I just think it would be clear that that's
After Civic Center?
at 6 p.m.
Pardon me?
At 6 p.m. Could we do that?
Where?
Yeah, right there. Just say at 6 p.m.
Yeah, after the word Civic Center.
Yeah,
Oh,
put
okay,
at
yeah,
6 p.m.
Yeah, at 6 p.m. After the word Civic Center.
And
Next.
I think it would be helpful in the future of us, we're supposed to record the votes in all of these that we had in this meeting. I think it's fine, but I would like to make a suggestion that we, if they're not unanimous, that we record the votes who voted which way.
You talking about recorded by name? Is that what you want, or just by number?
I think it'd be better by name. The statute says I don't have that. I was looking at this right before I came over here, and it said you have to record the votes, and I considered that to be.
Well, I think we record the votes like 4 to 1, 3 to 2.
Well,
All the
why
minutes
would
I've
we
seen.
want to put who voted which way?
Well, I'm asking your question. I thought that's what you were asking for.
No, I was asking that we say, you know, Mr. Hughes, Mr. Dyer voted for it, and Mr.
So
Boyd
you are
voted
asking
against
for
it.
names then?
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary when it's unanimous, but, I mean, that's the way you see it in the city council minutes.
Fine. I'm just asking for clarification as to what you were asking for.
Well, that's just my, as I said, it doesn't have to be done here, but we're kind of talking about how we're going to do it going forward.
Yeah, we had a guest right on last time in
Yeah.
the city.
Which was
Since
nice, I appreciate it.
Since it was unanimous, it doesn't matter tonight, right?
Right.
Okay,
But
next.
there is some place where he didn't record who gave it. I don't know that we need to say who.
So in those instances where it's not unanimous, then we would list the names of the individual voting for and voting against.
Yeah, or just put Mr. If we don't have to put the full names.
Okay.
I
I just
don't have any
think it's-
problem. If I vote no, I want people to know it's a no for Tony.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that.
well, I think it's helpful for in the future if there's an appeal or something.
I wouldn't have remembered or not, so you're
That would-
right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't know.
Okay.
You know.
That's fine.
Under old business where we talked about the bylaws, maybe this is my misunderstanding, but some of these things he has listed, like adding email, U.S. mail, email, or hand delivery, be added to regular notice of meeting, that was actually in it. You were asking me questions about some of these
I
things.
do think they were just questions.
And we didn't, the only things that I thought we were supposed to make changes for, and the only ones I did make changes for, were putting in a vice chairman, and saying that all minutes, a draft of the minutes prior to the meeting be distributed at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting.
That's primarily what I remember.
So those were the only two things that we made changes to. And that's all I have.
So do we need to strike the sentence adding? Is that what you're asking for?
Strike that.
Are you asking to strike that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because
And
it's
I
already
think
in there.
since we've talked about a vote, we should just put 24 hours prior to a regular scheduled meeting instead of 24 to 48.
I agree with that one too. It should be one or the other.
We didn't add that after the call to order there'd be a prayer, because I think we talked about whether that was, I wasn't sure if that was constitutional when you withdrew that request, but,
About the prayer?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, it shouldn't be in the bylaws. I agree.
Discretion of the chairman.
Present or future. Yes, sir.
And it says, ask for more definition of a roll call meeting, maybe we just talked about that, but maybe we strike it here.
Okay.
Is that right?
Is roll call meeting a call meeting?
I don't really know what he was talking about.
I wasn't sure either. My questions were really about a call meeting, and like, I'm gonna say a tornado, an emergency type
I
call
think he
meeting.
talked about a special meeting.
Well, to me, a special meeting and a call meeting are
Yeah.
synonymous,
Fine.
would they not be?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, well, the bylaws pretty much spells that out for me, or whoever's the vice chairman or the future, how you can do that, so I'm okay with the bylaws on
Okay.
that.
All
I
right.
just wasn't clear, but I am now.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna scratch adding US mail, email, or hand deliver, just because it would be redundant. And the prayer was just a discussion, or we're gonna, ask him to redo where it just says prayer was a discussion, correct?
Yeah,
And then roll call meeting, just take it out, just ask for more,
or ask for more definition of maybe we say a special call meeting
okay, special,
instead of a roll call meeting.
all right. All right,
Okay.
with these suggestions, ideas and changes, do I hear a motion to approve?
Make the motion, we approve the minutes as changed.
Second?
Vote? Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Unanimous? On minutes. All right, thank you all for bearing with us. Old business, I guess TNT Fireworks was old business. They have withdrawn their request. As far as I know, that's pretty much all you say. They have withdrawn. Next on the agenda is ZBA bylaws, or I still have them under old business. Any discussion or questions or comments on the proposed bylaws, please?
Well, I've received a couple of small typographical type comments from Jerry Noel, which I think we need to be changed. And I think Mike has a legitimate concern. I think that it's a little unclear in here if a supernumerary member is serving as a regular member, if they can vote on some of these things. And I think I'd like to table this for tonight and go through it and maybe clarify that issue and redistribute it to everybody, if that's okay.
She's the composer. Is there a second?
Second.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous again, please. Let's see here. New business. Okay, Mrs. Taylor, please don't be nervous. Okay, it's your turn, and I'm gonna read this officially, but then you just come up here, or whoever wants to come up here, and you just tell us what's going on, okay? No big deal, just easy does it. All right, 20110601, a request by Joan Diane Taylor for a variance to replace a double wide, which is a typo. The newspaper or whatever had it wrong. It never was a double wide, so it just can't say that because it never was. It's just a typo. Damaged more than 50% by the storm April 2011 on the property at 7732 France Avenue, Leeds, Alabama. If you would come up here and state your name. Anybody that talks tonight, if you state your name and your address, please. Anybody for or against or general comments, come up to the podium and address the board, please. Thank you very much.
My name is Crystal Hill. I'm John Taylor's daughter.
Say it again.
My name is Crystal Hill,
Crystal here, thank you.
and I'm John Taylor's daughter, and she's too nervous to talk. Do you need my address? Even though I'm
Yes,
not-
ma'am.
Okay, I'm not in Leeds, but it's 123.
You don't have to be in these to talk.
It's 123 Old Loki Ferry Road, and that is Wilsonville.
Mikey here. A little out.
Old Loki?
Loki, L-O-K-E-Y,
L-O-K-E-Y.
Ferry Road.
Ferry
Miss Taylor's trailer was, destroyed in the tornado. And as of right now, she doesn't have a, adequate place to stay. She's been kind of hopping from friend to family member, and needs a place to stay. And she would like to be able to get the temporary FEMA trailer, until other arrangements can be made.
Anybody else have a comment or from anybody else here for or against, or would like to talk about Mrs. Taylor's request to the the zoning board of adjustments?
Can we ask questions now?
Oh, I asked hundreds of questions. Yes, ma'am.
Can I, or you answer, or whoever, I don't understand exactly, so you have, you are going to get a FEMA trailer for free?
For 18 months.
For 18 months. Okay. So are you only asking us to put that FEMA trailer there for 18 months? Not for another trailer after that?
Whatever, I'm supposed to go to the Habitat place on the 5th.
I'm gonna have to ask you to come up here, one of you. I really need to hear you. I mean, we all need to hear you, and maybe it's my ears, but I couldn't hear you, ma'am. I don't know if the mic works, but if you're closer, we can hear you.
I'd asked for to go to the Habitat thing on the 5th to see if I could qualify for a house.
July the 5th.
Okay, can you, I don't know what all these things are, so I apologize if what,
She's wanting the temporary housing for right now. On July 5th, she's going to talk with Habitat for Humanity, and they build houses to see if she qualifies to possibly get a house instead of looking at trailer. So right now, all she's asking for is to have the FEMA trailer for 18 months. And then, if things change, she may have to come back later on and talk to y'all again, but for right now, it's just the FEMA trailer for 18 months.
well, I just want to make sure that the record reflects, because it's not in this, anywhere in here, that she's only asking for a trailer to be on the premises for 18 months. It's the FEMA trailer.
That was what I was told by, I think, Ricky or somebody at the city, that is it all right to mention the monetary amount? That the $12,000, she's been approved by FEMA, and that's the cost of the trailer that FEMA's picked out, or you picked out with FEMA?
And they picked it up.
They picked it out.
Okay. But it just, the written record doesn't reflect that. It doesn't say that it's for 18 months, it doesn't say.
I think when she wrote it, she didn't know that.
Oh, no, it's I'm
Yeah,
not
she just wanted the
I'm not
record to
criticizing
reflect
anything.
it.
I just
Yeah,
want to
I
make
know.
sure that the record reflects that her request has been amended to show that she's only requesting for a trailer for 18 months, and that it's a FEMA trailer. So it's not.
Either that or a motion could do either or. I think some of.
Well, it's always better if it comes from the person, because.
She's just not sure, and she's real
Yeah, oh, I know,
unclear
that's-
because of all the government stuff going on.
I'm not being critical.
Oh, I know.
I'm asking that it be in the minutes. That's all I'm asking, Tony.
Okay, I agree. It should be. I think most of you got, I think I got 3 or 4 comments from Emily, the attorney, about just stuff about this deal. I hope everybody got them. Okay, so you're familiar with what she threw out there. Okay. That's where it kind of came from. Somebody, threw out there about the Habitat house and the neighborhood, and, there's a few trailers there now, and, the house might be better off in the future. It might not happen, and she might not qualify, but you don't know till you ask, or you don't know till you try, is what I was told.
Well, the problem is, we as a city have decided that we're not gonna have house trailers, except in places that are specially zoned for house trailers. And
There's no question, that's correct.
we have denied that to a number of people, and I just wanna make it clear that this is a real different situation.
We've denied it at least twice, that Emily emailed me, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
but I think there was one other, I think she forgot. She didn't, I don't think she researched everything.
No, but she only sent one, but I think it's been twice.
I think it
Is
was
it not?
3 times.
Oh, okay.
Somebody would do it, but, so it's for a short period of time, and it's for a FEMA trailer
she was told she could purchase that trailer. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
She was told that.
Then what if you purchase that trailer and your variance request is for only 18 months?
I would,
Isn't that what they offered you, is
Yes, sir.
18 months? They dictated that time period.
That they would give it to her?
yes,
Or-
sir.
Okay, well, what's,
They said that they would give it to her for 18 months, or she could, at the end of that, that she could buy it after 18 months.
Probably.
Maybe.
okay, well, if you amend your variance request to be a variance for 18 months, then you would not be allowed to keep that trailer there after 18 months.
I think she understands that. She's in a rock and a hard place, but I think she
She
understands that.
really probably wanted the
Habitat.
Habitat house, but, she just,
Well, what would happen if she's not, if she can't get a habitat and the trailer's for 18 months, so?
Two things, but Joanne's better than that, than me about this, but two things. You could come back and ask the board again, or FEMA would come get the trailer, and in that 18-month time, you would have to make other arrangements, ma'am. I mean, that would be up to you.
You'd either, you would have to come and get another variance,
Yeah.
which would not be for, a short period of time, so people might consider it different, since we have not granted it in other places.
And I think you've heard that from some of the people in the city. So what Ms. Boyd's asking you was that, are you in agreeance, and I can't put the words in your mouth, but are you in agreeance to what FEMA has kind of told you? Are you in agreeance to asking us for this mobile home for 18 months? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you have to say it, please.
Yes, sir.
No.
You
you have to exit.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
in agreement that FEMA will let me have a trailer for 18 months.
No, that you're asking us.
Oh, I'm asking.
You're only asking us to put a trailer on the premises for 18 months,
Yes, ma'am.
a FEMA trailer.
FEMA trailer.
I'm only asking you to let me have a FEMA trailer for 18 months.
Okay, that's progress.
And I believe that's it, ma'am. Unless you have another comment. I mean, I think that, they might have some more questions now. Somebody, can you just stand there a moment? Okay. We're just gonna take a moment or two. Michael, anything?
Is it a standard, just a white trailer, or has it got windows?
It's got windows, but it's, from what he said, it's
They did tell you the size. Tell us the size, ma'am.
14 by 60.
Two bedroom?
Three bedroom.
It's not one of those that were in Katrina.
Right.
It's a real, they're purchasing a real,
And do they
what
put-
I call a real trailer or mobile home, is that right?
They just told me it was a FEMA trailer, a mobile home.
Did they
But
put
they did say
they
it
put
was
the
3
underskirting
bedrooms.
on it? Will they put underskirting on it?
They didn't say nothing about, they told me that they would set it up, they'd put me a new pole and all, and everything, so.
Yeah.
But they'll have the trim around the bottom of it, so
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's just sitting there.
I would hope so, since he told me he would do all that for me.
You can't say probably. It's either yes or no, ma'am.
Yes,
Somebody's gotta do it, is what he's asking. Is that right? And so, we as a board, or he's saying, if we vote on this, it needs to be skirted.
yes, sir.
So someone,
Yes, sir.
Buy some.
now you say it's gonna be skirted.
It's gonna be skirted.
Jerry?
and after, you get this, going, I understand you're going to Habitat when?
The 5th of July.
Okay.
That's the next meeting.
Okay. Make an application and find out
Yes,
if
sir.
you're qualified.
To a seminar they have.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. Tony?
Can I ask for the minutes, when does the 18 months start, what date, the date of
The
this?
day we grant.
The date?
She told me, correct me, Ricky, if I'm wrong, but they'll come tomorrow morning.
They
If
told
we
me that
voted.
I'll call them tomorrow morning.
Well, they'll come immediately. It's ready.
Right.
And they know what they're doing,
That's
so
what he said.
I don't know how to put when it
I
starts.
would have it run until, like the 15th or the 30th of the month. Let's give them a specific date, so it's not.
Oh, no, but I mean,
Well, why don't we
she's been
say-
living,
Why don't we just say, well, if the board is,
right.
that we're talking about granting a variance until July 15th, 2000, well, not would be July.
Yeah, why wait 2 weeks? She hadn't had a place to live in 6 weeks. I mean, Is there a reason to wait 2
She's
weeks?
just saying the 90 days,
The
I mean,
day
18 months, she's
When the
saying.
variance expires.
That's what she's,
Oh, expired.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you meant,
I-
the trailer
I-
come in.
no, it can come in immediately, but she's saying the 18 months, okay.
It'll
All right.
be December, I think, sometime in December of,
But-
2013.
But if we wanna make it, I think,
You're trying to give her an extra week or two, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're listening.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to have a specific date, because then everybody knows, it's not some question about it.
Okay.
Why- Wouldn't it be
Just don't
January?
make it don't make it Christmas.
Wouldn't it be January 2014, if we do it
Yes.
like
Yeah.
July 15th,
Yeah.
January
If
15th?
you added a couple of weeks after, yeah, that would
It'd
be,
be
Yeah.
January 15th, 2014.
that sounds right to me.
Thank you, Justin.
And
All right.
You got a calendar app, you might as well use it.
All right, the request by Joan Diane Taylor for a variance to place a single wide, approximately 12 or 14 by 60 on this land is for an 18-month period of time is on table. So I think that everybody's got the official, sorry, Mike, doesn't matter what everybody thinks right now.
With the-
What you got? You got it now?
I got it.
Okay.
But it's when the motion.
Oh, no, I
has
was
to
just
be
trying to go
started.
back over, I'm sorry, Joanne, I was just trying to go back over that it is for, we are talking single wide, not double, we're talking for a temporary time.
And it must be skirted.
It must be started.
Thank you, must be skirted. I was not making a motion, maybe I should have been a little bit better with that, but I'm now entertaining a motion.
I move that we allow Ms. Taylor to have this variance based on these specifications.
And if you have any questions, the specifications will be in writing with Ricky. I'll second it. We'll vote. Michael?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Congratulations. Everything else you need to go through Ricky, please. I mean, not right this second, but I mean, on down the road. I told you not to be nervous.
Right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ladies. Y'all welcome to stay, you're welcome to go. You know, up to you.
I'm going to check on my husband.
Thank y'all. You don't need her anymore, do you?
Ma'am?
You don't need her anymore, do you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all for coming.
Uh-huh.
Next item, 20110602, request by Kelly F. Washburn for a variance to operate a digital to garment printing company in a B2 zone. We have one board member that would like to not vote on this. Michael, would you please listen, take notes, and vote on this variance?
Yes, sir.
I'll step down, being in the printing industry, I don't want to have any sense of conflict here, so I'm going to recluse myself.
And the board appreciates that. All right, whoever would like to come go over the variance and tell us again your name and address, please.
I'm Kelly Washburn. I live at 1925 Lane Drive in Leeds. And I think we have more of a confusion than a variance situation. I think we've been misclassified as printing. Although I printed this shirt and this piece of paper on the same machine. Okay? I have some pictures here. It's a printer, it's a little larger than the printer that you would see sitting beside your computer. That's the entire operation, that's all of it.
Thank you.
A computer, a printer, and a heat press. And basically what I need is a business license. I plan on, if you'll notice the back page, this is a retail type operation. I hope to get large enough to be able to have a specialty shop, a specialty t-shirt shop, but I've been told that I can't print at this location, so I can't get a business license.
I want to make, I have one question. You are selling t-shirts at this place
Absolutely.
that are printed?
Well, I hope to.
Why? I mean, it's not that it's a that your people are calling in and ordering 800 and they're being shipped out.
No.
But I walk in, if you had this business license, and say I want one T-shirt that has, I love my dog on it, and get it? Or-
Absolutely. This is the kind of place that if you have somebody that's got a special occasion coming up, and you wanted to have a special T-shirt for them, you can come in, I can sit there with you, and, work on the computer. That's what this is. Work on the computer, you send it over to print, you print it, and out the front door it goes.
The reason why it's so confusing, and maybe everybody's had a chance to look at it, but we have neighborhood business that allows copying, and the B2 classification that she's in allows all the business, everything that's in the neighborhood business classification, and then some other things, which include general retail. And general retail says, the retail sale of goods and services, including but not limited to food sales, convenience stores, which dispense automotive fuels, department stores, clothing stores, grocery stores, home furnishings, appliance stores, photocopy services, office supplies, automobile parts, supply stores. I won't go through everything. I think the important thing is that it's a pretty wide range, and it does include photocopy services, but you also have photocopy or copying services in the general business section. I was concerned because, the old printing classification, I know from my environmental law issues, was, I think, probably developed back when printing involved noxious odors and smells and had hazardous waste. As I understand it, you told me your waste was basically the same print jet cartridge that I have.
Yeah, you can see in the side of the machine right here, those are ink cartridges. And they pull out and you can send them in to be
That looks like
recycled.
my inkjet.
And you put another cartridge in it.
So I'm,
So there's not any waste. It's not any louder than the printer that sits next to your computer.
I talked to Brett Isom about this because, I think it's hard when anybody's drafting these new zoning ordinances to think of every business and try to figure out where that business classification should go. And the types of businesses that we have change every year, primarily because of the computer. So, we've got to have some classifications that, or some guidelines, that we use that help us in these types of situations. And he said that the important thing in the B2 was that there were not hazardous byproducts and intensity of use in the location. Those were the two things that they would be. If you had an intensive manufacturing type use in the location, that would be more industrial as opposed to if the primary use of the location was somebody coming in and buying a retail service or product.
And that word being volume, basically, right?
That's my interpretation of intensity. I don't know. This is one of those situations to me that she either doesn't need a variance because it's either a general retail, or a variance is inappropriate because we're not going to put an industrial use in a B2 section.
And that's been my argument, is I don't see how I'm industrial.
May I say something? Business license ordinance puts digital printing under manufacturing, puts it under manufacturing class. That's the reason business license is denied. That's the reason she asked for a variance. It puts digital printing, screen printing.
Well, but we're not here to enforce the business license. We've got to
just telling you
enforce.
what this is.
That's fine, Ricky, but we have to enforce the variance. And if they are contradictory, that's a problem.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you give her a variance, then it still doesn't fix this.
Well, if she applies for a general retail business license, do you not have general retail? Why don't
But
the
it
business
does-
licenses fix, why aren't they
Because
the
this
same
is
as
going
these?
by, this goes by what the state rules are on business license, the state statute, what we adopt.
It goes by what, please, Ricky?
The state statute
The
on
state,
business.
okay. Is this a special exception or variance?
Well, I don't really let me understand something. So you're saying that it could be properly zoned to do what somebody wanted to do, and you still wouldn't give them a business license because of how it's classified in the business license section?
Right.
Well, that's wrong.
How can it be wrong?
Well, cause if it's properly zoned to do what they wanna do there, you can't go by what the
Oh,
business
it's not
license
properly zoned
says.
to do it though, because it's
It's-
not classified in the business license as manufacturing.
But you go by what's in the zoning statute.
It's not my decision, it's y'all's decision.
Do y'all understand the confusion? I mean, you can't, this is the statute on zoning. And if it's properly zoned for this, somebody should be able to do that.
Okay, prove to me how it's properly zoned.
Because I and Brett Iceland think that it's general, retail.
So
I
you're not,
think that if this machine is considered manufacturing, that every attorney's office and every real estate office that prints a contract on a piece of paper would be considered manufacturing.
And I think,
Because it's, I mean,
But
I
didn't you say
printed
you
this on the same machine.
but didn't you say you wanted to grow larger and do more at this location?
I'll have
That
to
was
go
your
to
first
another
sentence, I
location.
believe.
I'll have to go to another location because I want a t-shirt shop.
Oh, so you're not asking to expand at this location?
No,
they're
sir.
not operating,
I can't operate right now because I can't
get
get a business license.
Yeah, I thought your first sentence, I must have heard it wrong. I thought you wanted to expand
She
at
said she
this.
would like to, but she said she would have to go to another. That wasn't
Okay.
said at first.
Well, you know, I'm in an office building right now where we have several other businesses that we operate in our, but, you know, this is an 8-foot counter.
What traffic do you expect or hope for parking? What, 10 places there or so, split between the 5 of you or 4 of you?
There's 3 of us,
3, okay.
but we don't have foot traffic in our other businesses to amount to anything. And,
So
I
yours-
will expect some, but I wouldn't expect to have more than 3 or 4 cars at a time.
If I came to you with a proposal from for a church situation?
Yes, sir.
In general, if I'm not totally ignorant, how long would we sit there and talk? How long would I be in that spot and make a decision in general?
Less than 30 minutes.
All right, so we're designing it and talking about it and then you.
Well, a lot of times you may come in and we'll talk about it and we'll kind of sketch some things. And then I'll work on it and bring it back to you, or you'll come back and see me, or I may print you a sample shirt and you go, yes, this is what I want. And so print 12 of them. And, you know, you either come back and pick them up or I would deliver them to you. It's that kind of a
Is
thing.
it okay to ask why she picked this location?
Certainly.
She owns the building.
I own the building and my other
I didn't
business is
know.
already located there.
I mean, I didn't know that.
I
Did you know
have-
that? Okay.
I have 2 warehouses in this office building that I own and lease. And I can't move this equipment, well, I don't have any warehouse space available right now for one thing. But this equipment has to be kept at certain temperatures and certain humidity levels. So it has to operate in conditioned space. It can't operate in a warehouse setting. It has to be heated, cooled, and kept at certain humidity levels.
And if I read it right, you're not asking for a time period. You're just asking to do it. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't read it all.
I would be willing to adhere to a time limit or something.
No.
I just need to go to work.
I didn't have it
This
right.
is my-
I didn't have it here in front of me. I'm not asking you to
I've
change it.
already had to make payments on what I've got, and I just need to go to
Well,
work.
you won't like this suggestion, but, one of the things that, I was concerned because I couldn't get all these things to fit together, and now I'm even more concerned because I can't get them to fit together with the business license code, but I think that's something we need to talk about later, because I don't think that shouldn't be the tail that wags the dog, how they classify as to whether or not they can do it there. Because the definitions don't say, we use the definitions that are in the business license section. They have specific definitions, and they're pretty vague.
I really think this does need to go before the zoning, to have the zoning changed to be able to do this, because, you know, there's a lot of businesses that can't come in because of this classification.
Brett was
But if
very,
I don't get a variance, I don't have the time to go through the process to try to get that item fixed.
but I don't think a variance is the appropriate action for us to take, because I don't think we can, I think it would be stretching us to grant a variance for something that's being classified as industrial in a B2
Well,
classification.
It's only, from what I understand, it's only classified as industrial,
And we
because this
can't
is
amend.
called direct, digital to garment printing. And since it's digital printing, the state,
See, that's not, what's in that state classification is not determinative in our zoning board.
Okay, Joanne, if you go to printing establishment in the zoning book,
It's very broad, I agree.
right, but where is it allowed in NB or B2?
Well, but what concerns me and concerns Brett a lot is because you told Brett you wouldn't allow Kinko's to go here.
I wouldn't.
Well, you have copying all over the place.
But printing is not the same as copying.
Well, I
Copying
think
is taking this piece of paper and making the same thing over here. It's not creating something from a garment and putting something on, two things and putting two things together, that's manufacturing.
but if I'm a lawyer and I'm printing documents, you would say that I had to be in an industrial section?
because you change a piece of paper into a contract. This is still a T-shirt when I get through.
I mean,
I haven't changed it into
There's-
anything else.
the old printing, the point was, and this is, I mean, it's absolutely true. You have to go back to what was the constituent reason why they put printing in industrial section. It has to do with the old way that it was done, with the noxious, chemicals that were involved in printing. Not when you start going to these inkjet print cartridges that are not hazardous waste and don't have any smell. And, that's why, and this is why I know it's not what you want, but what Brett has offered to do, he's our chairman of our zoning commission, he's also with the regional planning commission, to go and find out how everybody else zones this.
What kind of time frame are we talking about? It's already been 22 days since I've made this request.
Well, we don't meet again until July 26th or 7th, as far as this board. If that's what you're asking.
But if he found that it's classified B2 and other locations, there's really no reason, the only reason to come, in my opinion, before this board is if you don't like Ricky's decision, and then you need to apply for an appeal for an administrative decision. This is not
Royce has already been to the council for that.
no, she comes here for that. She doesn't go to the council for that.
Denied
I don't know
business-
why.
Denied business license goes to the council first.
Well, I don't know why, because it's clear in this zoning
So it's only
ordinance.
going to the city council? Ricky?
Yes, sir.
What-
Okay.
Well, the city council, as I understand it, they didn't deny it. But this statute says the denial of any administrative action taken by you comes to us.
The zoning board or the variance board?
That is correct,
We
by
are
the way,
fair.
they tabled that, they didn't deny it.
I thought,
Did you say they did
They
table it?
tabled it,
tabled
they did
it,
not
they did
deny
not.
it.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, they haven't picked it up since then.
And they tabled it when, approximately?
June the 7th,
Oh, okay.
somewhere in that range.
This current month.
Correct, this
Okay.
month.
I didn't know about that. Thank you.
That was a request for appeal of your
See,
business license. Is that,
I don't really understand exactly what it was requested for. But they were in the same dilemma that Ms. Boyd is. They didn't feel like it should be considered manufacturing, but the law said digital printing is manufacturing, and so they were at a loss of what to do with it.
This says that
So
an
am I.
appeal for a denial of a building permit shall be taken to the Code Appeals Board.
It's not a building permit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
Somewhere, correct me if
It's
I'm
a
wrong.
B permit, it might have been.
I have a question that I read somewhere, so I don't know if it was the bylaws or in some of the paperwork during one of our training meetings. If we chose, and if this isn't appropriate, please just listen, if we chose unanimously to override Ricky, can this board do that? Whether it's this
Not on a
case or not?
variance request.
Sir,
Not on a variance request.
okay, what is it that I
She'll
read
have to
that we,
file appeal.
sir?
She'll have to file appeal.
No, you're wrong about that.
I thought this
We don't,
board,
we can grant a variance request.
Yeah, if you give her a variance, but if you're trying to do an appeal from my decision tonight, you have to go back and get an appeal process started.
Oh,
You
you're
can't change it from a variance to an appeal tonight. It's a different procedure.
we can't change it, what, sir?
You can't change her, what she wants from a variance to an appeal in the middle of this meeting.
Okay,
An appeal is in a different form, a different application.
talking about circuit court.
No,
Oh.
But you told her which form to fill out, is that not?
no, I did not.
Okay, all right.
You told me I was told I
No.
needed a variance.
But the city councilman told you that.
This happens too many times.
I don't mind that I'm confused, but can we start at the top just for a second?
Yes,
Just
sir.
for a
I'll be more
minute.
than happy to.
How long would it take you to put this in that building and take it back out?
It's in the building.
Okay, how long would it take you to take it out?
A day?
Okay. Thank you.
Just for your information, Joanne, Section 18 in the business license says, if I deny a business license, it goes to city council.
If I what?
If I deny a business license, it goes to city council.
And he's already done that,
It's in the city ordinance.
and they tabled it.
Well, I was going by what's in here about denial of action by the
That's
building
on
inspector.
zoning and building.
Is she at the,
Well, she's,
I'm sorry, is she at the city council's mercy, so to speak, when they bring it back up? I mean, do they have to bring it back up?
If I table it, it should come back up at one point in time.
Well, but they've tabled other things 6 months at a time, you know?
well, I mean, what, I don't,
Why did she end up here?
There you go.
If they,
I think they may have suggested, or somebody may have suggested, I may have even suggested, that it was an opportunity other than going to the council. She wanted something fast, and this is the fastest, other than the council, when the council tabled it, this is her only choice.
I think she can do it in B2. But, you know, if it's not,
Would you issue a business license if this board gave her temporary,
I have to,
sir?
I have to,
Okay,
because to me, it's spot zoning if you do it.
I understand that, but I just wanted to know, the
now,
city
spot
council.
zoning is zoning something in one area.
Well, you're letting
Different
her
than
have
another
something in B two that's not allowed.
We're not zoning it. We're saying that we interpret general retail, we're issuing an order for a temporary period of time, but we interpret general retail to include this type of business. We're not rezoning the property,
Okay,
and
what are you
we're not
gonna do?
zoning it for
What are
industrial.
you gonna do 6 months from now when 3 more people come up here for the same thing? You gonna let them have it too?
Well, I think it's a good location for Kinko's myself. I mean, I mean, you know, if the head of the zoning board was appalled that Kinko's couldn't be on Parkway Drive, you know, there's something wrong.
Well, and I'm willing to go through the process to try to do that, but I don't have
I mean-
time. I have to move to another city, you know, to operate. I can't wait 30, 60, 90 days and continue to put money out with no income.
I thought you said the equipment was already in there.
Well, it is, but I'm not allowed to operate if I don't have a business
Well,
license.
I know, but I thought you said you didn't want to put money out, or what money are you putting out if it's
I
sitting
have to
there?
make payments on that equipment.
Oh, no, okay, I thought you meant something different than that.
I've got $3,000 of t-shirts sitting in there that have to be paid for this week.
So you set it up thinking you could do it.
I didn't think there would be a problem, so I get the machine in, it took us 2 days to figure out how to get it to work. And I came down to get a business license, and I get a phone call later that says, no, you can't do this. And
So I didn't know all this.
then I'm in it, then I go, okay, well, what do I do next? We'll go to city council, well, all right. So I go to city council, and they say, well, we tabled it. I said, okay, what do I do next? They said, go to the variance board. I said, okay, how long is that gonna take? Well, that'll take to the 28th. I said, all right. So, here I am.
And $250.
And $250. So here I am.
Ricky, one more time for me, maybe it's just me. You're going by the best of your ability, you're going by the state of Alabama statute for this area is why you didn't issue the business license. Is
Not
that?
a business license. He's going by the class, correct me if I'm wrong, he's going by the classification of digital printing for business licenses in the state of Alabama.
Okay.
Not what it's zoned to do in our statute.
Okay.
Also,
Yes, sir.
that's one point. The second point is printing establishments are not allowed in NB or BT. They're not a permitted use. You show it to me in this book.
Is that the?
Printing
But you-
establishments are allowed
But you consider a copying establishment a printing establishment.
if you read the definition it is.
But yet they allow copying establishments, so would you allow a copying establishment?
That's what I said, I wouldn't.
But that's wrong, because it clearly says you can have a copying establishment here.
Well, the definition of copy, it doesn't have a definition of that, does it?
No? Yeah, photocopy services are in general retail.
Are you looking in the city documents right now, Ricky, or the state?
That's all I use.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Under
you quoted the state earlier, so.
Under neighborhood business district on page 49.
No, I want you to look in the definition and tell me what a copying establishment is.
Well, it's what
Go to
the
printing.
general, huh?
Go to printing.
So if there's not a definition, it doesn't matter that it's allowed? Is that what you're
There's not
saying?
a definition, it's not allowed.
No, even if it's listed as allowed?
Well, I don't get what you're saying. Copying is not in the definitions, so I don't consider what copying, what are you considering copying?
Okay, look on page 50, under neighborhood business district. It's actually photocopy services, photocopy services.
I see it.
There's
It's not
no-
photocopy though.
All right.
Photocopy is picture.
Photocopy services is defined as a business providing copying, printing, bookbinding, presentation of materials, or other reproduction services to the general public at retail. Now that's allowed.
So when she puts it on a T-shirt, you don't think it's manufacturing, right, Joanne?
I think that I go by, I run into this in the law in the environmental area all the time, and you have to go back and try to find out why somebody wanted to make a classification. And traditionally, when you had the old type printing with the chemicals that were noxious and dangerous and hazardous, you wanted to put that in an industrial
It's
section.
like dry cleaners.
Right.
Okay.
But, when you've got to the point where you have copiers and you've got, inkjet printing, and you don't have hazardous materials and you don't have byproducts.
Well, why do you think, or why does the law think it's not manufacturing again, please?
Because I think it falls more into retail services. She's selling T-shirts that happen to have printing on them.
What's
Go back to I'm sorry, can you
The
go back to the definition of photocopy?
It says providing copying, it doesn't say on paper, printing, it just says printing. It says printing in the definition of photocopy.
Ricky, what's Hibbett's zone, please? Hibbett Sporting Goods, what's that? B2? Okay, and the weightlifting machines on the other end's that B2? And okay, all those little businesses right there. Okay.
And to me, the most amazing is that you can have service stations with gasoline and all that, and that's B2.
It is wide open, there's no question. B2 is pretty wide open.
And dry cleaning.
And dry cleaning scares me, but we're not talking about dry cleaning.
So, to me, I think it's retail photocopy services,
Which means she doesn't need a variance.
which means she doesn't need a variance, and it's clearly allowed in the neighborhood business step district or B2.
I don't know what you do next, but I agree with Ms. Boyd, you don't need a variance from this board. That's just me, one person. Michael, any questions, comments, please?
I don't see the need for a variance either, but it's, what she's gonna do, because she's not gonna get a business license.
Mr. Abernathy, you've done this a lot longer than me.
She don't need to be before this board.
You thinking, that's okay.
So,
But if we're,
we're at the nexus of the problem is a definition between the
Yes.
business license code and the zoning. Correct.
That's what I see, yes, sir.
Nowhere in here is a concern over the possible volume of what might be occurring in a B2.
I did ask that, but it doesn't say that there, does it?
That shouldn't be, because
I was
if you think
curious.
about it, you know, if you're in a manufacturing sense, you're thinking about large volume, need for handling materials, raw and otherwise, probably so forth. And that's not a concern we have in this.
Even if UPS comes every day and backs up 200, that's not for us to, okay, I agree. I don't know what to do. Let's see here, is there a motion? Or more
Well,
discussion?
let me make it to have a discussion. We could either vote on our determination and hope that has some weight, but which, under the law, it doesn't. It just be,
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Absolutely. I think anybody in here can.
As an old line printer who had the chemicals and so forth, but I'm in an industrial area, printing industry is going digital. And what she's got basically is a glorified copier. The only difference is instead of paper, she's using textile. I just bought two digital copiers myself, but I'm not printing textile. The zoning is not keeping up with that technology.
exactly.
She's not manufacturing, she is copying and using textile instead of paper.
It's retail and services.
Yes.
It's not manufacturing or creating a,
This is
If I
just,
could
I'm
ask
sorry,
a question
yes,
while
sir.
we're at it. What options does the board actually have in this? Because are you required to take an action on a request?
we can table it.
Well, no action is a no vote. I know
Is that
that.
effectively a denial?
Yes,
Then that means that she could not come back and ask for it again.
No.
6 months.
Okay, so she could come back.
Or she can say, I withdraw and walk out the door. That's an option.
Okay, so that is an
This-
option.
Joanne just said table. I'll tell you what I feel. This is just me, okay? I'd like to let her do this for 6 months and see what plays out. And that's just my comment. So I'm gonna make a motion that we allow this young lady to do what she has come tonight and asked to do for 6 months. And we'll see if I get a second or not. I don't know.
Well, I think we've got to make it a little clearer than that, Tony. I think we've got to say we're going to grant a variance to include definition of photocopy services, digital printing of T-shirts in which the primary product that's being sold is the T-shirt.
Well, I have no problem with changing what I said. I'm just trying.
Or, I mean, it depends on how broad y'all want to make it.
That would
I mean,
at least
one of
let
the
me
other things-
operate until we can try to get
One
the
of the things-
zoning to accommodate.
Let me
this.
ask you this, when you're selling this product, I mean, can somebody come in there and just buy one of your T-shirts without anything on there?
Absolutely.
How much would that cost?
For them to come buy a T-shirt,
I mean, how much would the T-shirt cost?
$7. I mean, how much would I sell it for?
Yeah,
About $7. I mean, for just a,
when they come and buy one, do you not say you're paying this for the T-shirt and this for the change?
no,
You're not, it's a
I
product?
just charge for a T-shirt.
Okay, and how much does the whole thing with the, is the cost depend on how much you have put on the T-shirt?
And it depends on the color of the shirt and whether it has a pocket and those types of things.
What I'm trying to get at, Kelly, is of your retail product that you're selling, how much of the sales price is the clothing and how much is the service?
Most of it's the service. I would say that, if I sell this shirt for $15, and I don't really wanna tell y'all what I pay for these t-shirts.
No, you know, what, I'm not asking you what you pay for them, I'm saying
Yeah,
what you're planning to sell it for,
If I sell this shirt for $15,
printed.
printed, well over 50% of that is the service that I provide,
All right,
not the cost of,
is that
and
15,
covered overhead and,
sorry,
you know, those types of stuff.
is the $15 an example?
That's
or
an
is it
example.
reasonably accurate?
That's reasonably accurate,
All right, I want 300 of them, what's the price?
$15.
Oh,
It's not gonna drop.
not gonna go down, okay.
Not really, because
Oh, you know, I just
actually I would
bet you,
farm,
I'm just
I would
curious.
farm it out if I had to do that many. That kind of a volume is not something that.
You don't have to
I can do.
substantiate, I just was curious.
Yeah,
I
I can't
don't-
help 1,500.
I don't mind, if Michael can come up with a little bit what I said and a lot what Joanne said, is 6 months all right with the board? Is it 6 months please other board members?
Can we just restate what the, because I'm hearing that you're accepting her
Here, I need to click.
change to your original motion.
Okay, yeah,
So if you can restate it, Joanne.
I'll try.
Okay,
or either Joanne can. Joanne, would you like to,
okay.
would you like to make the motion instead of me?
Okay, let me try. I make a motion that we grant a variance, if this is what you're requesting, because this is another one of those things that,
I did ask for a variance.
I know, but it doesn't say
I
a
think-
variance for what.
I don't remember what
You
my
say
letter
for this
said.
kind of business, okay. What I'm trying to get around is I don't want to say that we're granting a variance for the industrial use in B2. I want to say clear that we're granting a variance to include in the definition of photocopy services and general retail, a business that does the business that she describes here,
With the pictures, with this equipment, please.
for 6 months. Is that what we're doing?
That's fine with me.
Now, in the meantime,
I'm gonna
Brett,
have
this
to-
is an important issue to the zoning board. I understand, and they're gonna be doing research on whether they need to change the zoning law or how these matters are handled in other jurisdictions. Because I think that,
I did,
they think that they should be able, that if we can get Kinko's to come here, not that we're recruiting Kinko's,
Right.
don't get me wrong. A business like Kinko's, or whatever, ought to be able to operate, a business like Kinko's ought to be able to operate on Parkway Drive in the B2 section.
Well-
Accomplish.
right,
You also know, I know this motion just got about 100 million words, but we're gonna start over in a second.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
You realize you still gotta get with Ricky, you realize the city council's still gonna look at this, and you're gonna be working on it for yourself, right? Because, just me, I'm not gonna give you another 6 months.
I don't think the
I,
city
oh
council.
no, I understand.
You work it out, that's what I'm trying to say.
You're
That's
just
just
giving
one
me
vote.
time.
That's just
You're
one
just giving
vote.
me
I'm
time
not
to
gonna do
work
it
it out.
twice. Yes, ma'am.
And I really, that's what I had expected, is just to be given time to work this out without having to not operate.
But I suggest
Michael, you
get
think
with
you got it
Red Eye
short and
and
sweet?
follow.
Can I say it back and just make sure?
Please.
All right. The motion, Tony Houston amended by Joanne Boyd, was to grant Ms. Washburn a variance by including in the definition of photocopy services, digital to printing services for a period of 6 months.
Well, the digital. No,
Digital
I
to
would-
garment, I'm sorry, digital to garment printing services, that's what
We're-
they're.
All right,
we were
use the
granting
term
a
digital
variance.
garment.
We're
Sounds
granting
like
a
you.
variance for 6 months
Right.
by stating that we're including in the definition of photocopy services or in general retail, digital printing of t-shirts.
That's all you're gonna do, right? Print t-shirts, that's all you're asking for. Okay.
I mean, photocopy.
Michael, I'm good to you go if you're ready. All right. Are you voting yes or no? We'll go to Lynn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, a little out of order. Was anybody else wanting to talk for or against? I know I'm out of order, but just, I'd rather say it than not. It was approved. Thank you all.
Michael, how soon can you give me a copy of that wording?
I'm trying to get it out to you this week. You need it quicker?
But it will have to be approved tomorrow.
Tomorrow, maybe late tomorrow. Because those ones used to send.
Must be determined by the business license or not.
Thank you, ladies.
Can we get a copy of that picture, or maybe like a photocopy?
I got it.
You got it?
I got the zoning.
Oh, no, it's good. It's been passed.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
Everything's good.
The
Man, but she
language,
gotta get her business license.
it's,
Yeah,
I just don't want
You
you.
don't have to wait on this.
No,
Okay.
no.
I
You have to
misunderstood.
reapply for a different business license.
So I have to reapply for a different business license?
I need to reapply for a retail.
Whatever they're wording that as.
Now tell us what to do it as.
Photocopying, I would think.
Photocopy.
I think she may have to get a lawyer involved here because I don't think that her zoning classification is the same as her business license classification. If she can do it in our zone, how it's classified as business license is totally irrelevant. For example, if she was allowed to operate a zoo, but you didn't have a definition of zoo in the business license, she could do it here, and you'd have to grant her a business license. You'd have to figure out what to put it in. But that, because she doesn't fit a classification that you've got in your business license section, doesn't mean that she can't operate a zoo here.
I'm through. No more comments from me.
Are you saying you just want this terminology to try to
I'm
help?
carrying it to the city attorneys before I issue the business license.
Okay, so you don't agree with us issuing a
No, I
variance?
don't.
Right. You got that right.
It's got us and the zoning board.
Thank everybody for coming.